Let's read.
Chapter 8. The beautiful female onagra soon became our most prized possession. The boys were amazed to learn her coat would change from cinnamon to pale brown during the rainy season. We all agreed that she was the most unusual animal of her species we'd ever seen. Her training was a tedious undertaking. Nips, our monkey, was her first rider. He stuck so tightly to her back that in spite of the onagra's plunging and kicking, he was not thrown. "Let me try now," begged Francis. "After all, I'm the smallest one in the family." Although I gave my consent, I was careful to lead the donkey with a halter so that no harm would come to my son. "I'm next," insisted Jack. He landed only a few minutes unhurt in the sand. Ernst, Fritz, and I followed suit, but we were soon dizzy and exhausted from the frantic galloping. Fritz, however, didn't give up. Over and over he mounted the wild donkey and rode off. Finally, the onagra got accustomed to us and was quite tame. We chose the name Lightfoot for her because of her incredible strength and swiftness. To this day, I can still picture Fritz on the back of Lightfoot as they tore up and down the beach with the speed of light. His pleasant way of life ended abruptly with the arrival of the rainy season, which was our winter. And the rain fell in such heavy torrents that it took the entire countryside into one big lake. The winds blew so furiously they deluged our beds with rain and threatened to carry us away. We had no choice but to move from the treehouse into the stable that we built between the roots below. Crowded together in the dark, we were nearly sick from the foul odor of the livestock. In addition, we were stifled by smoke whenever we kindled a fire and drenched with rain whenever we opened the doors. Week after week, we were prisoners inside the barn. For the first time, Elizabeth was obviously upset. "We simply have to build another winter home elsewhere," she stated. "You're right," I replied. "I don't think any of us could go through this again." "We could still use the treehouse for a summer residence," she went on. "After all, we do love it there." "Agreed, my dear." "Listen to this," Fritz said as he leafed through a book he found in the bottom of a chest. "Robinson Crusoe cut his home out of solid rock. Why can't we do the same thing?" "We can," Ernst said. "How about the rocks on the other side of the island? They just might suit our purpose." Soon as the gloomy weeks of rain had ended and we'd gotten Falcon's Nest in order, we set out to investigate the rocks behind the tent house. Here we found that the ravages of winter weather had taken their toll too. The winds and rain had beaten down the tent and scattered our provisions hither and yon. Luckily, our sailing boat was still an anchor, but the tugboat was completely shattered. "I will certainly be glad when we have more solid winter quarters," I told the boys. "We'd better get right to work," said Fritz. I had to confess to the boys that I had my doubts about carving a home out of those rocks. However, I added, I'm willing to give it a try. Wielding pickaxes, chisels, hammers, and iron levers, we set to work at an enchanting spot that faced Providence Bay, Jackal's River, and Family Bridge. With charcoal, I marked the opening we wished to make, and the boys began hammering away. At first, the progress was monotonous and slow, but as we advanced, the rock became softer. When we had to cut into it about a foot, we were able to loosen the rock with a spade, just as it were dried mud. After several days of hard work, we'd penetrated 7 feet in the rock. Then one day, as Fritz was carting out a wheelbarrow full of rock and dirt, Jack cried, "Father, we've gotten through all the way. Come see." The boys lit some candles, and holding them high, we advanced forward in one serious line. The most beautiful and magnificent spectacle waited us. Our candles illuminated a large grotto whose sides sparkled in the flickering light a sea of diamonds. Hundreds of crystals, the length and shape hung from the top of the cavern and joined with those on the bottom to form pillars and altars. "It's like the palace of a great European king." "Or the temple of a Roman god," added Jack. "One thing is certain," I told him. "No man has ever set foot in here before. It's been hidden away from people since time began." "What do you think this is, Father?" asked Ernst, breaking off one of the crystals that hung down. "It's salt," I exclaimed in delight. "Boys, we discovered a salt mine." "Will we still be able to live here?" asked Fritz anxiously. "With the salt?" "Of course we will. If you notice, the floor is level and covered with sand. The cavern itself is tight and dry. It's a perfect site for our winter home." However, we continued to live at Falcon's Nest for many months. During that time, we converted the grotto into a comfortable residence that would house not only our family, but our growing group of animals. On one side, we built a stable and a workroom that would fit the livestock, their food, and all of our provisions. On the other side was our home, which had a bedroom for Elizabeth and myself, a bedroom for the boys, a dining room, and a kitchen. Here we built a fireplace and a chimney that went through the roof. With the exception of the dining room, each room had a window which we chiseled out of the rock. Felsenheim, or the dwelling in the rock, was the name of our new home. We soon realized that we made a smart move, for the surrounding area was full of an endless supply of fish and game. Huge turtles visited the shore to deposit their eggs, and groups of salmon and sturgeon swelled in the bay. Large cranes, flying through the fields, were often captured by Fritz's sharp-eyed eagle, while kangaroos were seen jumping in and out of the sugarcane. One afternoon, as we wandered through the woods, we came upon a grove of bushes that appeared to be covered with snowflakes. Fritz darted into them on Lightfoot and returned with his hands full of fluffy tufts. "Father, is this what I think it is?"